this on in both. Okay, let's see. No. All right, how about all of that? No, wait. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Here's hoping. Seems like you should be able to, so I'm going to go ahead and start the rambling. Oh, there we go. It's this way. So, howdy everybody. Welcome back. It is 2022. It is Sunday, January 2nd, and this is the 61st episode of the Ration Museum Bulletin. All right. Thanks, Yossi. And Paul. But Kaylin says no audio, so maybe refresh. So we got a mix there. Here's hoping that there is audio. I'm seeing the microphone looking good. So anyway, welcome to the stream. That's just the corner of the basement. There's just a pipe there. We're back in the Ration restoration room down in my basement in my house. Haven't been here in quite a while. Since we last worked on some RCIs and maybe some MCIs. I've got some stuff down here. Gonna try and work on something today, but just yes or no? Can you guys hear me? Sorry. If some of you can hear me, then audio works. I need to know real quick. Can somebody? I'm gonna type in here. Saying I'm hearing voices kind of tells me that audio's working. All right. Okay, Boardman says sound's better quality. There's sound. Kaylin, refresh your machine, turn the volume up, there's sound. I promise. Okay, I'm moving on. All right, so, and Rachel says audio's fine, Paul says audio's fine. Okay. No, I'm just on, I'm on the tablet that we usually use to take notes. So, this is going to drive me nuts the whole time. Let me see if I can fix this off to the side. No, I'll just leave it be. I'll just leave it be. Oh no, did it just crash? Okay, no. Alright, so just whip this together. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a stream or not. So between last Sunday and this Sunday, somebody T-boned my car in front of my house and just smashed in the whole driver's side of it. So it got hauled away. It's going to get fixed, but I have no idea when. Now I'm starting to hear horror stories about parts. So in the meantime, I don't have a way to and from the museum that doesn't cost a ton of money and a ton of extra time, and it's already a lot of time to go in and get things set up to do the stream. So I'm going to try and do some from here, and it gives me an excuse to get back down into the restoration space and start working, because I'd like this year to make a bunch of little 10-minute videos of like taking 2 hours of restoration and just kind of shrinking it into little sped up parts. So you guys are gonna potentially see, the long, boring version of these, but hopefully that's not too boring for you. Now, there's some stuff that you guys might recall that we've been taking from the museum as we've been going. So, like, for instance, we've got this, it says Old Italian to Salvage. So I want to say this is a 1990s Italian ration that we're looking at here. Just gonna see if we can swap the scene. There we go. So yeah, we're looking at like a 90s ration. I want to say maybe even late 80s, but this feels more like 91, 92, something like that. So we're gonna see what we can do to clean that up. There might not be too much really wrong with it after sitting all this time. And oh, hey, thanks, Paul. It's, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes stuff happens. So I woke up to a pretty loud crash, but I've got insurance. He's got insurance. He didn't try to run or anything. So neighbor's car was parked way too far into the street and had the wheel cocked out. And he was driving this massive pickup truck with these great big wide wheels, and the edge of his wheel caught the cocked out wheel on the other vehicle and just yanked him, and that vehicle. And I have it all on security camera. I sent Corey, if he shows up, I sent Corey a copy of the footage. It's just, you know, is what it is. Happy New Year's, Bust Up. Fordman saying they can't get parts from China and Mexico because they won't let the factories there work. Oh, got it. Yeah, and I can imagine that, you know, a lot of stuff is coming from there. I mean, I have an older Hyundai. I'm hoping somebody can find one that got hit from the other side and pull some parts. But got the estimates and all that stuff. I have nothing to do with managing that, so I'm just staying out of the way there. You know, my only hope is that I have a car again in a couple weeks, but we'll see. Hey, Corey. He says he found a menu sheet for the 2021 ORPs. I mean, what took you so long? It's already 2022, man. No changes. Well, you're just going to have to get one of every one of them and find out, I guess. All right, so we've got this Italian one that we could do some restoration on. We've got the bagged items from the in-flight case that we got a little later in the year last year. The one that had a bunch of juices and stuff that were still in the cans. If I brought any of those home, you could always see what the juice looks like. I am going to need to probably grab some more stuff from outside this space. It was all heaped up and kind of pushed to the back of the basement. I haven't been down here working in here in a while, so last minute scrambled. I was just going to do a hello everybody and maybe eat something and cut it short, like an hour-long episode, but I figured, you know, if I could get this space cleaned up in time and get a couple scenes built into the laptop so that I could do some camera switching, you know, then we should be all right and could actually get something done for the new, you know, first episode of the New Year's. So yeah, I hope the guy who was improperly parked had insurance. I think, I don't even know if he knew he got hit. You know, note was left on his car, but didn't seem to do anything. And he's still just parked in the neighborhood. It didn't hurt it. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the wheel's not in great shape after taking a hit like that, though. Yossi's been looking for parts for Yossi Model 86 for 8 years. Oh, got something interesting. Might try and eat this today. Let's see, gonna need to move some of these lights around, but basically, there we go, that's not too bad. Got a can of self-heating soup from about a decade ago. It's mushroom, and it has a push-button system on the bottom that basically is an FRH in a can. So this whole part up here is like an insulated kind of squishy material that keeps the heating can from burning your hand and keeps all the heat in the can, since otherwise it would just transfer through the metal and to the atmosphere, you know, pretty easily. So this expired 7 years ago. And it's mushroom soup, so who knows? This might be good, this might be terrible, but I'm going to give it a shot. The tomato soup, I have 1 can of the tomato soup as well, but I'm assuming since that tasted like metal the last time I ate one of these in date, that it's just going to taste more like metal. This who the heck knows? This might have some awful chunks in it. This might just straight up not be edible, but we'll find out. So there's that for today. You know, just one more quick look at the hot can. I don't think they make these anymore. Does anybody know? So we've got that. I think I'm going to need some water and a sponge, but I think I can get that down here. I've got paper towels, I've got my goggles, I've got my box of gloves somewhere. There. We've got some basics here. Keep looking wrong way. This I can move over here so it's less likely that I'll get confused. All right. Yeah, Paul Bustoff was quarantined. You know, he was in the hospital for a while, and then he was quarantined for quite some time. Finally out of that, though, right, Bustoff? Back out in civilization. Hopefully, feeling a lot better. Oh, here we go. I've got the sideways can opener. I forget how this one works. I used a different variant sideways can opener a bunch over the summer. Oh, okay. So it just automatically pulls itself in with the first couple turns and then locks. This one's a neat one. So gonna try that on some things. So we've got our mask in case anything's looking pretty dangerous. We got our foam sponges, we got our wax and brushes. We're looking pretty good. We should be able to do some actual restoration in here. Well, you know, actual amateur restoration as best as we can do. We'll preface again that I'm not an expert in this. All right, I'm gonna get some water in this, and then we'll break this out and we'll see what we've got and start looking at fixing up this Italian ration, and then see what else we want to dig into in this pile. Sound good, guys? All right, I'll be back 2 seconds. Sorry, I really should have sat and verified for a second. Okay, I was saying this whole thing is cobbled together last minute, trying to make it so that this tablet doesn't overload, break down, whatever. So everything's manual. So when I switch scenes, I have to turn the sound on and off each time. And there's like 5 layers of sound for some reason, and only one of them's right. So I'm sorry, guys. I turned on the wrong one, and then turned on the other wrong one, saying, "Oh, haha, I got the wrong one. All right, now we're back." It's gonna be fine. So we're good. We've got sound again. I was saying this box is supposed to be in here somewhere. We've got the kind that's got a bottle of cordial. It's in rough shape, but we really want to restore this. So because these are, such interesting items. People talk about how there used to be like a little actual plastic bottle of cordial before they switched over to the plastic tubes. So, the little kind of reminds me of the freezy pop tubes. So we want to get that good to go. We want to clean this up as best as we can. All this stuff fit together in this kind of vacuum bag that goes around the 3 outer boxes. Oop. And there's a bunch of growtiness inside that bag. That'll catch you back up to where I was when I was rambling with the sound off. And I talked about lights and how amazing technology is that all this is working on a tablet. Yada, yada, yada. Back to present. Okay, we've got this broken down ration. We're going to take a look inside. I was saying we're going to start with this bag and see if we can get the crud on the inside cleaned out. I don't think there's anything that's going to be mega dangerous right here. At least at first. No? Yeah. Just going to go paper towel to the inside, see if we can get some of this stuff back out of here. Alright, so put that there and we'll get to that next. Alright, there really isn't too bad in here since everything's so tight inside these bags when it's all together. It's just a film kind of got out of the bottom box and around the bottom edge of this in here. So trying to get that cleared. I don't know how well you guys can see in there. Well, pretty well it seems. But yeah, there's a little bit of crud down at the very bottom. I'm just going to do my best to get that wiped off of there. I'm just going to go blind. Kind of rotate it to see what comes out. I always found these things intriguing. I've never actually just sat down and had a complete one of these over the course of, a couple days. I always had such anxiety wanting to do it right, wanting to review it right, and then just let several expire instead. So there's a couple in the museum collection that are probably still in perfect shape and we'll want to get to at some point. There's a lot of this kind of work ahead in terms of just let's get to the bulk of the stuff in the collection and get it emptied out or ready to be preserved long term, depending on what it is. Early, before it starts leaking, before it starts breaking down. Certainly going to need a better space and more people and all that stuff for that to be a reality overall. And then for future stuff, could even potentially work with some of the ration manufacturers to get empties of stuff. So, yeah, the bag sounds sturdy. The bag's metallized, or has a heavy metal layer in it. So it's very sturdy. Almost got it. Yeah, that's why I'm being a little rough with it, but also, you know, this was basically a throwaway in, you know, a lot of people's eyes and how bad it is, especially, you know, in a military person's eyes, you know, that would have just seen this as, okay, that one's bad, toss it. But, you know, it's something that there aren't a lot of in the world, and that told an interesting story about, you know, a period in the Italian military. So, to us, it's not just, you know, it's not garbage. It's something salvageable. I hope. Alright. I think that's quite a bit better. All the big crusty parts are taken care of. I'm going to put that to the side there. And let's see. Let's take a look at this. I want to say this is sweetened condensed milk for drinks. So, definitely leaked. Yeah, and it's leaking down at this seal too. So how do we take care of something like this? So you can see this seal is bulged and splitting. There's, you know, this pinhole became kind of a little chunk. So, you know, pushed some of the paint up around. There's some swelling and some milk exiting at one end. So we could try, howdy Nova Persei, welcome. And I didn't get to say all the howdies because all the technical stuff as this was breaking down earlier, but hello to everybody who's checking out the stream this week. It's kind of haphazard, but, you know, thank y'all for bearing with me. We got Pete, we got Aletha, we got This and That with Matt, we got Fordman, Bus Stop, Paul, Corey, Yossi, Rachel, Kaylin, and if there's anybody I missed, you know, just say howdy again and I'll shout out to you. Alright. So we could crack this end open down in there and try to empty this out and then maybe fill it back up with something else. That's going to require a lot of liquid, so I may hold off on that. Let's look at the box. It looks like inside this box we're basically fine. It looks like all of this damage came from something external. So let's take a minute and see what we can do to restore some of that. If we can. Just going to take a dry paper towel to it, see if anything comes off. Like this darker section here, not sure. Yeah, that's coming off. That looks like could be cocoa or something, which tends to go on a journey throughout rations pretty often. Finds its way out of the bag, but there's some kind of oily residue right there that's wiping off. You know, this kind of staining, you know, it probably was the milk. It's just, well, I don't know. The inside seems so dry, even down at the bottom. There's just that one little chunk in the corner, and I don't think that's what absorbed into the whole outside edge, but it could be this cordial actually. So let's switch to that. Let's take a look at this bottle. So we've got Got a little tax stamp on it up top. If anybody wants to pause and read that later, let me try and get it still. I'm going to try just a little bit of dry application first. Try not to get too much liquid on anything we can avoid it, or when we can avoid it. We'll bring this a little closer to what we're working on. See, that's working out already. Just gonna try and rub off as much of this residue as I can before attempting anything else. The label has got a little bit of crud built up on it. May want to do a light sponge pass on the label, but we'll see how bad it looks after the rest of the bottle isn't just covered in, you know, gunk. Down here in the basement with my server, so if for some reason it decides it needs to go up to full speed, it'll get deafening in here, but right now it's running super quiet, so thankfully I just jinxed us, and you know, it'll start to speed up at some point. What proof is the cordial? It's 40%, so 80 proof. Let's see. Come on. Why does that not want to focus? That's alright. Probably, since it's dark. There we go. 40% alcohol by volume, so 80 proof. Getting most of this stuff off. So this is the side that we haven't touched yet. And this is the side that we've cleared. So looking pretty nice. Well, it's mostly cleared. There's definitely bits and pieces there. So how's everybody's Christmas been? How's everybody's New Year's been? It's been quite a bit of time since we've got to spend a lot of time together. You know, from before Thanksgiving to now, I had one attempted stream that didn't go super duper great. That laptop is still basically out of commission. I've gotten it to boot, but I don't know that I'd trust it to do a whole stream, so we'll see. But now I can't get in there to try and set something up, so we'll play it by ear, as we always do. Got some goals for 2022. Got the collection almost entirely indexed. Was really hoping to get that completely done in 2021, but we've only got a few weeks of indexing left total when we get back to the office. And then getting a database online so that folks can start helping flesh that out, tying the photos that I took to the actual pieces in the collection from that spreadsheet that we've been making, and getting more and more details on each of those things, putting in the links to the official military documents on it, bringing stuff in, linking to reviews people have done, that kind of stuff, trying to make something useful where you can go to one place to start your search, down the trail of different rations. Let's see. Sorry to hear it was such a bad Christmas season for you, Bust Up. Hope it's getting, a good deal better this year. see, so almost. There's a lot of staining on the inside of this. Oh, hey, your screen should not be on. Let's try that. Is that gonna freeze? No, that's still fine. Don't know how much I ate into the battery there, though. All right, the cap is still pretty grody. Working on that. And there's some junk in the threads here. Might be able to get it out. Don't want to break the cap or the bottle. It's turning, but just barely. Sorry to hear that, Fordman. Says he had a brain injury last year in February and hasn't been able to get back to work. I hope you're able to do something to keep you busy. I know it always helps to have something to take your mind off of it when you're in a position like that. Here we go. Here's the culprit on this. We've got. Sorry, there's just like yelling out in the street that you guys I'm sure can't hear. So there's this little tab. You can barely see right here that from up top maybe it's a little more apparent. Right there. So this isn't going to twist off. I'd have to snap that and open it, and I'm going to try not to do that. But this crud there is on the inside, and this yellowing back here is on the inside, and I think it could be cleared up pretty well. And there's just the slightest dried physical remnants of probably the sugars that were in the cordial. So you're just gonna try and get any little last bits if we can off of that label without applying anything liquid. Overall, there's no stickiness left, you know, on most of the outside here. It did all clean up pretty well. And this label, well, there we go. We got most of this out of the notch up here. And that's not on this side, so the label's got like a little darkening, like right in there and down in there, but honestly, that's fine. I'm gonna leave it in that state rather than apply any liquid to the surface that might, you know, start some chain reaction that screws it up over time. I think compared to just a few minutes ago, it's a lot more, you know, reviewable, displayable. Oh, there is just a tiny bit more I can actually get to right there. You know, and maybe I do take the cap off, and then when it's displayed, put the snapped cap back around to the back, but I'll decide that later. So for now, we're going to consider that cleaned up. And we're going to take a look inside one of these boxes. What's that? The cordial, aka the obliteratot. I'm not getting the reference, but I like the sound of that word. All right, we've got a bunch of rust along the side here. We should be able to grind some of that out and put some wax on that and keep that from getting any worse. This is on the stove that comes with this. So this one thing here is, you know, your stove that comes with every 24-hour ration, at least at this time. And this is, you know, this is heavy metal. This isn't, you know, this isn't a little foldable S-bit kind of thing. It's got rivets and quite a bit of strength behind it. All right, we've got, ooh, we've got chocolate. Looks chocolate. No, see, yeah, Chocolado extra. I don't know, some kind of chocolate bar. Does not look in the best shape. It is greasy to touch. We've got some biscuits, some sweet biscuits. Yeah, there we go. So that side looks pretty good. This side looks pretty rough. We've got, I think these are also biscuits. Yeah, this is still damp. So we've got some real cleaning to do here. Aletha, are we talking figurative hell, or are you in Georgia right now? No, I'm just joking. There's a town by that name in Georgia. But I hope you're doing all right. I hope it's just figurative, like work's terrible, and not that you're feeling poorly. It's Corey saying, speaking of Ration chocolate, guess who just scored another Dunkin's rum raisin? Man, this guy's building his monument to Dunkin's of Scotland one pack at a time, or 5 packs at a time sometimes. I wonder what it is that got all over the outside of this, but this is very, very soft material at this point. The green is coming off. There's a hole in that side, probably from just sticking to something else, but let's see, we've got some kind of meat in some kind of sauce or oil or something. Carne suina in, no, I'm not going to do this the whole time through. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce things in Italian. I will be wrong. Nick will someday see the episode and curse my name in some Italian accent. All right, so we're just going to get this one wiped down. That's easy enough. This doesn't appear to have been the source of any liquid in this box, so it likely came down from something else. The seal here looks fine up top. Overall, this piece was easy. It's just wiped off. The date on this one is January 93, so we're going to put this to the side. We've got our accessory packet. See, it's got the contents listed on there twice. I guess it's just repeating. I was going to say, because it's the same print in both cases. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this little box up here, you know, in the upper right corner or upper left corner of the screen, I don't know why I didn't think of that before. I'm always trying to show you guys stuff, and I've got, you know, my head in the way. This makes, I hope, a lot more sense. Hey, did we pick up Ronald? If so, welcome. Hey, Ronald. Good to have you. Good to be back. All right, we've got some fuel in there. We've got sugar. Okay, I was like, that, it's in the stove like it's fuel, but this is just sugar. This camera's a little jumpy. Oh, it just woke itself up over nothing. Hey, there's the server. Alright, camera. It's not melt. Well, that can be fine because, let's see, I have a backup idea here. Maybe. How far are we? Been live for 45 minutes. We got to at least beat last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the laptop died. Got to at least beat that much. All right, so gonna add another source here because this is not doing well. Keeps freaking out. All right, so that might work for that, and then turn that off. Bring in there we go there. Okay, so if we try that, then I can move this to look at this stuff. Just gotta reattach it. Let me swap to be right back for just a second so I don't make you guys look at all this. I'll keep audio going this time though, so all right. Hey James, welcome to the stream. Pete's missing from camera too. Yeah, miss you, Pete. We'll get back in the office at some point. I mean, depends on when I have a car again. All right, we'll get this transferred. I know you guys can't see me, but hopefully you can still hear me just fine. This thing doesn't want to work. That's fine. Put you off to the side. Backup plan engaged. Now there's going to be wires everywhere. Madness. Hey Dave, welcome to the stream. Not missing too much, just a haphazard attempt at streaming from a basement. Long story short, had car not good anymore, car broken, car getting fixed. We'll have car again. Can't get to museum, in basement fine, and we're caught up. Oh, basement technology jank. Yeah, forgot that part. Basement technology, very jank. Sort of works. Figuring it out as we go. Okay, so now the camera that was looking at me is looking at all this. I think that'll work. And I'm just looking at the tablet now, which will mostly work. There we go. All right, so here we go. We've got a bunch of different pieces we're going to try and fix. We've got this sugar down here that looks pretty good. We've got this chunk of metal. Let's try and open up this stove. See what we're working with. Get this restored if we can. See, piece of sugar in there. Not the best shape. Let's take the rough side of a sponge and see what we can do about some of this rust. Yeah, so this has got quite a bit of buildup on it. Don't think it's all rust though. Might actually be something physical on top of it. So I'm going to switch to just slightly moistened. And we're going to give it some time to loosen up there. It is wiping off. That could be rust, that could be, you know, some other buildup. It does seem like rust to me. On the inside though, there's some kind of sugary substance in some of it. Let's get some of the rest of this stuff in a more appropriate spot. We are working with part 1, which we didn't really get to take a good look at the box here, but you know, as you can tell looking at this, there isn't any attempt at multi-language. Early 90s Italian certainly wasn't going to have a mix of French and English and German or anything like that on there. There's I want to say 3 languages on the current one. Got a mask and gloves. Do you think, I mean, just for grinding some rust, I do have both. The hands are getting kind of gross. Should probably, at the very least, glove up by this point before I get too much further in. Mask just makes it hard to communicate. I'll put on goggles in case anything pops back up at my face. And certainly if we open up any you know, cans that could potentially have something harmful in there, we'll get a little more precaution going. Let's see, what all can you guys see? We'll angle that a bit. Let's get the rest of this organized a bit more. So we've got this heap of energy tablets over here. We've got the box that we've mostly cleaned as best we can. We've got this tube that we're going to have to figure something else out with. This is not damaged, so we're going to leave it alone. Somehow spared everything in there. Yeah, these are going to need just some wiping down. It looks like there's quite a few of those. And we've got this set of sugar cubes, this very poor condition biscuit packet, and this much better condition biscuit packet. So that's what we're working with so far. Put down some more paper towel here so we have the ability to actually see what we're working with. Pipe cleaners can get down to the pivots of the that stose. Is that a word? Don't. Oh, the stove. Sorry. Yeah, down into here, you mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some need to clean inside there. But I don't have any rough pipe cleaners. Yeah, the green can is meat of some kind in something. But I don't speak Italian, and I don't have the ability to do a translate on me right at the moment. So bear with me. This is an information-free stream. This is just some attempt to keep something from getting even worse. This had grease, or still has grease on it. There's definitely still activity in this case that we want to stop. So that's mostly just wiping off. So's that. But this still does seem like it could be actual rust, so I'm going to go back to work on that. Spicy pork with pesto. I have no idea. I won't even pretend to pronounce it. I've never been right with Italian. Just basically never. Alright, so this thing's drying out breaking out all the rust pretty well. It's getting to where you can actually open and close it without it resisting insanely hard. So you can see what the idea would be. So you'd have it, and you'd line out your tablets there. They look just a little chunk of combustible fuel tablet. Let's see, this one has a tear notch in rough shape, or just has a chunk missing right there, because I don't see it on the rest of these, but we'll get to those in a minute. Yeah, Italian, Spanish, and French, share a lot of root structure. I'm sure there's other dialects out there, that evolved out of those that share quite a few concepts. But, I know enough to be useless, not enough to be dangerous. Now, I know, like, if I see a sign in Italian and I needed to get somewhere, I'm sure I could guess my way through, or at least have an okay shot of guessing my way through the sign, but I wouldn't be able to tell you how to say it properly based on reading something and thinking Spanish, because they're very, very different in like how you would just approach a word. Alright, we're getting there. That side's looking a lot less groated up. Oh. Try and get the inside edges of these. Also Romanian. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Or Czech, or Polish, or Hungarian. That, I mean, there's no commonality when I see that written. I just don't understand. You know, and that's all right. It's different written language and structure and concepts, like, you know, putting three letters together with extra symbols around them to build a sound. It makes perfect sense. It's how you build language, I guess. But it's yeah, it's not familiar and not guessable. Like I don't look at anything on a Lithuanian ration and say, okay, I think I have a pretty solid idea of, you know, how to even make these sounds. And when I do, when I guess at it, I'm wrong. I'm just wrong. Though I grew up in an area where a great deal of the families were of Polish descent, and there were a lot of names that you just got used to from knowing the families and people, but they just never made sense written to me. So like Barkevich was a name of you know, family down the road for me growing up, and it was spelled like Bardakiewicz or Bardakiewicz or something to that effect. There were a lot of people with wits and ski and, you know, etc. Extensions to their names that somewhere along the way it just I couldn't tell you what leads to the pronunciation because it doesn't match up with what's written. But you know, there's history to it. There's reasons for it. Just not something that I learned. Pete says he wants Filipino fast food right now. I don't know that I'm familiar specifically, but yeah, I would go for, you know, I like everything, so I would try it. This is a tough spot right here. Doesn't want to let go. It might be that there is no, there's definitely some shininess still down below that layer. Can you guys even see? Yeah, you can see. Yeah, like I would read that and I would say Jarzinka, but Yazinka. You know, like where did the J, where did the R go? Like they're there, they're written down, they have sounds, but not in this context. Yeah, instead of Ration Museum show, it's the Sean's Ignorance of Language show. Sean's Ignorance of Language and Culture show. Let's do that. Let's be honest there. So we're getting through a lot of it, but just this section here really doesn't want to give up. It does still seem raised, so it seems like something I should be able to grind off. And that's pretty much done. And that's pretty much done. We'll close this up and see what we got on the bottom. Still have that chunk. And some of this stuff just looks a little better once it gets waxed. So let's see. Smitty's saying it's still cold. Taking the day off hiking, doing it tomorrow when the wind dies down and it doesn't feel like it's below 0 freedom degrees. So I got this watch rigged up again, and it's one of those like digital smartwatch. I've had it for a few years, but I've always had problems with it, so I got it working again, and it has the weather on it. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to switch it to freedom units, and I'm just stuck with this nonsense pile. It's telling me it's 13 degrees outside when it's, you know, thunder and lightning and pouring rain. It's like, it's not 13 degrees. it's not, you know, it's not spitting frozen rain at me. It's still wet. So it's been like that for a few days. I have no idea how to solve it. I'll figure it out eventually. You know, this thing doesn't look a ton better than when I started, to be honest. Like, there's no built up stuff just sitting on it, but it's still, very little of the rust came off permanently. And seemingly a good deal of it is down into the metal. But you'd think this would be stainless. Hey Mike, welcome. Hope you're having a good Sunday. We're in my basement on a tablet doing an impromptu restoration stream on a 1993 Italian Armed Forces 24-hour ration that has spent quite a few years just soaking in its own spills. I mean, I did open this up and wipe it down to some degree, or at least separate pieces out years and years ago. But, you know, like I said, there's still some greasiness in here, and that's not a great sign. It certainly seems to me like it's a sign of continued activity over the years. Just going to dry this off, and then we're going to see if we want to touch any of these spots up with wax or just let it stabilize. So I would think that all of the buildup came from there being something on there to be in contact with it. Down in there, still not clean, but it doesn't look too bad. You know, I've felt a lot of little stabby bits, so thanks for encouraging the gloves. I think, you know, they've probably helped from some little micro punctures at least. While working with, you know, old food particulate. It's probably a good idea not to get that in any little nicks in your hand. Alright. So this side's nice. This side definitely was the side that got most of the brunt of whatever is there. So there we go. There's the stove. We will put that off to the side. Rust. Right. See, what do we want to tackle? Let's get these fuel packets cleaned up. I'm gonna try just giving them a quick wipe down. I think whatever was on them is for the most part just external. Like, you know, certainly doesn't look great, but I think it'll clean up just fine. See, now this is the part in a video that people watch where, you know, it would go and then you'd have a nice pile of like 20 of these clean. You're like, there we go, and moving on to the next part. Because this stuff can take a very long time and not be that interesting. you know, to watch, and I understand that. And I appreciate that you guys come here anyway, you know, for the community and, you know, just to see what the heck we're going to be trying to do. Then he says he handled a K-rat, and the powder that was on it actually caused some irritation on his hands. Gloves moving forward. Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, like, well, I mean, I guess all kinds of things could be, you know, irritants. I mean, especially these, like, heating things. I'm sure, you know, there could be, you know, chemicals coming out of these that you wouldn't necessarily want on your hands. But the food stuff, yeah, I'm sure there's stuff in there that once it gets on you. Like, I have a little bit of an itch on my hand. I probably should have washed before gloving up, but safety third. Alright, yeah, these two are clean. You know, like, this is what we're, this is what we're working with. You know, and this is what we're working towards. Yeah. Just making these things presentable. Figuring out what's leaking and stopping it. And, you know, plastic bagging the things we can separately so that any future things that we don't get to empty right now don't have a chance of, you know, doing damage to something else that they're neighbors with later. Yeah, these are cleaning up nice. I think it probably was, you know, to some degree the cordial that opened up all over everything. Just a little plastic cracked top bottle of booze in a ration. I mean, in 40%, you know, that's the same as vodka. That's the same, I mean, like standard vodka, whiskey, rum, you know, that's the baseline normal shot proof. So, you know, that bottle is 3 centiliters. I am not sure what, I mean, I love, Smitty, I love that you said freedom units. I'm just going to go ahead and use that all episode, but I don't know what the freedom units are for 3 centiliters. This does look like an ounce to like maybe 1 point something ounce, maybe 1.25 or 1.5. But yeah, that, you know, that's a little kick of actual alcohol there. Well, yeah, yeah, Kaylin, that's still not freedom units. 300, yeah, centiliters, 300 milliliters. I mean, or 3 centiliters, 300 milliliters. But yeah, I don't know what that would be in ounces. I would assume close to 1. Ooh, like, yeah, getting there. And yeah, that's where we're starting from. The packaging on this isn't seemingly really affected by whatever was on top. Some of this is underneath, but and it's cleaning up without, you know, any of the color or material coming away for the most part. The edges are a little delaminating, I like these fuel packets though, and it's interesting. They've got they've got Arabic on them. You know, and I wonder if it was anything to do with any particular engagements or anything, but you know, produced in Italy. But yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, last night I was feeling a little weird. Had to, at the beginning of Smokey stream, I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to watch along. I was just, I don't know, I had to lay down for a little while. Just saw you mentioning to Fordman he might need to lay down, but yeah, it just was a little dizzy and spinny, and I'm fine now. I think it was just, you know, just not eating right or something, but I'm glad it passed. Certainly don't want to get another cold anytime soon. You know, anybody that wasn't in the last stream or didn't get the memos, the whole chunk of December that I wasn't broadcasting, I was here in the house in quarantine. Picked up COVID around Thanksgiving, and been totally fine for a month almost at this point. But yeah, everybody be safe out there. It's you know, it's at least the new variants and all that, they're spreading again. And, you know, we've relaxed a bit, but just keep your guard up, be safe. You know, all that jazz. It's not fun. Oh my god, yeah. I think I was there till nearly the end of the stream last night. You know, a couple hours, but yeah, those things. Oh wait, he opened up the actual cans later on. I thought he was doing that later. I know he got them out, but I didn't stay long enough to see him actually open those. I'll have to go back if that's what ended up happening. I saw him get out the water and was mentioning, like, you know, at some point where, you know, that kind of stuff is going to need to be opened up. You can't just have a metal container of water from 75 years ago and expect it not to eventually rupture, you know. Even if it's 50 years from now, it's preventable, and there's really no direct benefit you're gaining by keeping the liquid in there. Unless, you know, you had it in some kind of specialized setup where the whole point was to see how long the liquid stayed in there. Let's see, can I put anything back under that space? There we go. That's a little better. Feels less like I'm looking down into something. Okay, yeah, okay. And then he was saying he's got to make sure they end up in the museum. I had no idea he was doing that. That's insane. That's so fantastic. You know, might even let us decide to open up one of the older ones I've got that aren't in as good shape. I know I've got the Coast Guard style. The first can he got out, not the gray style. I don't think I have any of the square cans like that. And that one's such nice shape. And then the drinks, or I mean the water can was in perfect shape and completely full. So let's see, these are all coming along. Here's the clean result. Look at how much more light that reflects. Now the ends are staying a little yellowed, but yeah, it's not bad compared to what we started with. Some of these are pretty good on one side. Yeah, bottled water, the military stuff, you know, it's basically, I was saying the other day, looks like a Capri Sun, but, you know, it's just water inside. And I wonder how long they really last. I have some I've had for about 10 years. See, this little spot actually wants to fight me. So anybody make any good resolutions for this year? Yeah, I saw. Oh yeah. Somebody looked up the packing company, and they found that it had gone out of business, or had entered into some civil suits, or some, you know, basically lawsuits over insolvency in 1951. So it's quite likely that it was packed earlier than 1951. So yeah, here's hoping it's a World War II era with the red Hershey's tropical chocolate bars, because that would be, you know, more interesting, especially if it's in good shape, and it sounds very dry inside, in terms of, like, it doesn't sound like he's got a crumbly pile of bits. It sounds like they're just decent sized objects moving around in there. So it'll be interesting to see. Those cans are packed with the candy that tends to break down, though, you know, as a good portion of the filler material inside. Paul's resolution is to not do resolutions. That's a good one, you know, and you can make it stick. But yeah, we'll see if those get opened, how that, like, kind of red cellophane wrapped candy stuff holds up, or held up, because that's what tends to break down and leave crumbly bits throughout the whole rest of the package, and, you know, that can lead to other things in there, you know, changing form over time with heat and cooling and, you know, sugar. The Hershey's bars I've seen come out perfect, and I've seen come out swelled, like they took on water and just kind of swelled against their own packaging, and then never really reduced size afterwards. And I've seen them come out just crumbly powder in, like, kind of a nearly translucent reddish wax paper, because all the ink, you know, just basically ran around on the surface, or, you know, just kind of merged together. All right, that's looking pretty good. There's one little chunk there. There we go, that came off. All right, so that's the fuel tablets all done. There were 2, 4, 6, 8. There were 12 of those. And we could take another look at those over here. A nice little pile of these. I wonder if they can fit into the stove. Yeah, no more crud on those things. Doesn't look like they were all meant to fit inside the stove. But unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure where they were all meant. Or what all these little fibers are that keep drifting onto this table while I'm here. Salt has an expiration date. How? I mean, salt when exposed to water can change, but salt's crystalline, it's a mineral. So NaCl is NaCl in 1,000 years. It's just if NaCl plus H2O or plus water vapor in the air or plus any of that, yeah, it'll change. Salt's salt. Alright, we're going to try and do some cleanup on this, but it doesn't look promising. I think I already took off some of the outer layer there. Yeah. There's some greasiness to it. Yeah, look at that. I think that's just kind of silver paint just coming right off. I want to get all this kind of built up crud on the surface of it away, but I don't want to lose all the writing. Just going to go in very short little motions. But even such, I can't tell if that's going to take the paint with it, I mean the writing with it when I get a little further in. I think it is. So, let's see. Maybe just dry. Yeah, it's working. It's not coming off too silver, but whatever film is on there is coming off. So there's like stamping on the surface of this. You know, there's like the packed in 1993 stamp kind of on here. You probably won't be able to see with this resolution, but it's like right in here. Almost. But don't want to rub that off, or any of this, but yeah, the wrapping isn't in great shape, thanks to whatever settled in this case. This side has quite a bit of it. It is seemingly coming off though, so just going to work at it slowly, carefully. Almost. A little bit more on this corner. The biscuits themselves, you can see just a little bit through the corner, and seems dry and normal in there. This is a little rough right in here. I think it's already through the foil outer layer. Yeah. But overall, I think I'm able to get all the greasiness off of this. Yeah. Feels basically normal. I don't think I'm going to be able to say the same about this green one. Yeah, when you see what the military does, like, you know, the Navy runs tests on our stockpile and stuff, and wants to have real ideas of how long things will last, and you know, the expiration dates we see are generally nonsense for a lot of long-term storage stuff, at least. I mean, I wouldn't eat, you know, a steak 6 months past its expiration point, but I would, you know, eat a can of beans 6 years past its expiration point without really thinking about it. So yeah, this is not great shape. The package itself feels greasy, but we'll see what can get wiped off and what the end result is like. I mean, this is a lot more readable now. So it's, let's see, it is basically just open on this end. The biscuits themselves look really nice. Smell like bread. You know, the biscuits look really nice in this one. I'm going to see, it looks like a little bit on the inside edge of this. Pete says, speaking of beans, I was watching a TikTok live and there was a spirited debate about beans and chili. I keep trying with TikTok. It doesn't make sense to me. They're speaking gibberish. I was saying this last night. Like, I don't know what they're... Like, I mean, obviously I'm not talking about, like, just the dancing side of TikTok. That's its own ridiculous thing. It's like kids... on the playground in like 2nd grade doing silly dances at each other and taking turns doing it, or like I don't even know, but these are adults and they do it like thousands of times a year, and that's it. That's what they, I mean, whatever. I'll never get that side of it, but I'm trying to like get into the military folks that are like doing their meals, but it's all just such, I don't understand the jokes. I know I'm getting old. I know that's a sign of it, but it's just so dumb. I don't get it. All right, so this is about as clean as I think I'm. Well, no, this side is still just bad. Can at least try and make sure that it's not gonna get any worse, but yeah, this side still has all this crud on it. Anyway, I'm sure there's some value to TikTok. It's just different. Kaylin says she just puts cat videos on there. I mean, every platform can use more cats. That's a noble effort. Alright, these, I don't know. These just don't feel like they're going to last in that package. Uh-oh. You got to dance that now. You got to dance back. That's how it works. Everybody knows once you get served, you got to dance back. You know, in my day, you knew when someone was going to dance at you because they were walking up with a boombox. You just avoid the folks with the boombox and you'll never get pulled into a dance-off. You gotta be careful. You dance too much, you'll end up in regionals. No. This is cleaning up. It felt a little greasy before, but that's coming off of it. It's got that like crazy swelled chocolate bar feel to it, though, that I was just talking about. Though there's some give to this thing. None of this stuff is going to be anything that I try. None of the biscuits, none of any of it. I mean, it's been sitting in who knows what for years and years and years and years, breaking down. It's not. This isn't like, let's see how bad it is. Like, no, that's just not safe. But, you know, is it going to be stable in its current form longer term? That's the main question. So this is feeling pretty good. But you can see, like, there's like a plastic layer in this, and you can see through it in parts to the chocolate underneath. So the foil is delaminating. Still interesting and preservable. All right, let's see. Now we've got this. Like I said, this is going to take some water. I'm going to put this to the side. Let's look at the box all this came out of. See what we got to deal with. So we've got potentially white mold, but potentially just grease. Probably grease. We've got some nastiness in there. Let's do a dry pass on it. Just break any big chunks or rust or anything loose. Here's where we got that whiteness. Okay. This side is already detached, so we'll just do that. Yeah, that's coming right off. It looks like grease, like fat of some kind. Probably knows the Humpty Hump, probably knows some cabbage patching. You had to have your basic repertoire if you were going to dance back. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've never been danced at. Hilarious. Yeah, this will be fine. This feels greasy still. Let's get the outside. Sorry about the table squeaking. D batteries, you know, AA, AAA, C, D. They're all 1.5 volt batteries with just a different amount of, you know, basically different amount of material behind them. So the milliamp hours, that's what it is. So, you know, the amount of time they can sustain putting out 1.5 volts at, you know, 1 amp or whatever, or 1 milliamp, is, you know, that's the only real difference between them. So the Ds are supposed to last the longest, but you see, the trick of modern, the trick of modern consumerism is sell you the same package with less stuff in it somehow, and with batteries, they just keep making them big, but make the milliamp hours on them lower and lower and lower. So if you look at some of these old ones, like an old D is going to be like 68,000 milliamp hours, and a new one is going to be like 23, which is not that much more than, you know, like double A's or whatever. And I'm just throwing these numbers out, you know, pulling these numbers out of nowhere. They're not real. I want to say like double A's can be up to like 3,000 or 4,000 or something. But yeah, so I wouldn't put it past some companies to sell modern D batteries that have less actual charge behind them than some old double A's. Alright, I think we got all the grease out of this one. Like, you know, you can see some little dotting on the cardboard from it being, you know, damp under the grease or absorbing some of the grease. But for the most part, that'll dry back out. There's a little something there. Cardboard's going to be a hard one, though, in general, to preserve. Once it starts, you know, getting damaged. I'm sure there's going to be techniques that we'll get to try in the future for better halting, you know, damage. But for now, we'll do our best. So, wonder how this would have been supposed to go together. I think this was supposed to be in this box. Let's just say the box goes in here. Yeah, okay, so the box can fit next to those, but height-wise, all right, they're that height that way, so it's possible they went in more like that. And then this big old pack is probably going to sit on top. This is bigger than that, but width-wise, okay, it's the exact same width as the box. Big old chocolate bar, can of something. Big old pouch. So let's see. This takes a good amount of space. So it's going to have to almost certainly be above the level of the stove, which, if the stove is supposed to exist, maybe, maybe it's more like this. No, that's not. So there's a tapered end that looks like it would have gone up on top of something. So let's go back to plan A. Oh, here's this one's got some English on it. And yeah, full cream sweetened condensed milk. Yeah, this camera definitely doesn't want to. Oh, it doesn't have autofocus. That's right. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a smart autofocus thing going on the other camera. So apologies for stuff you haven't been able to see as well. Alright, then we've got this whole collection of probably wouldn't be sideways. fuel tablets. We'll just kind of mix them around in there. How many jokes do you think Nick would have made by this point with an Italian ration out on the table? There's no way we would have gotten this far without at least some. Okay, so that fits like that, which means that probably fits just fine next to that. And there is what feels to probably be like a fork. No, okay. Let me just shake everything down to one side in there. And we've got these 2 things of sugar that were in the stove before, so we'll just put them back in the stove. Alright. So this is my best attempt at repacking this thing. So, seems about right. Would open up. Take it apart. Yeah, let's call that good for the moment. Now does this, so this box contains the can, the 2 things of biscuits, the sugar, wait, 175 grams, no, that's the sweetened condensed milk. Yeah, the sweetened condensed milk, the chocolate bar, the soluble coffee, that's going to be inside that, inside this pouch. This is, you know, a mix of things in here. Yeah, we've got actually, it doesn't say coffee's in here. I do see a bunch of stuff, like moist towelettes and interesting things in there, but might be missing something from this box. So keep an eye out. Let's see what else. Oh, that's what's in. So the bottom chunk here, this side is what's in that pouch. 20 grams of sugar, 32 grams of combustible fuel, 5.4 grams of coffee, 3 Bustine to something something. Let's see, wait, does that say? Yeah, okay, no. Bustine Cafe. Yeah, okay, never mind. There's the coffee. It is in this pouch. So, and it isn't tracked separately on there. Then there's some kind of vitamin drink. Alright. Take a look at this piece number 2. See, we're about 5 o'clock. Oh, good God. This one is not looking as good at piece number 1. Oh, no, sir. This box is just completely blown apart. Piece number 2 is where some of the problem originated. I will tell you that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, buddy. Piece number 2. Okay, we just had a walk in the park with piece number 1. Like, oh yeah, you know, this. I wonder why I put this in a box. It's not that bad, but it's, yeah, no. Piece number 2 is awful. So these biscuits are just ruined. This carne bovina and gelatina. So we've got beef in gelatin. Hey Dub C, welcome to the chat. We've got pasta fagioli. I don't know. I always say things wrong. I know it's not fagioli. I said that at one point, or fagioli, pasta fagioli maybe. I think probably. I don't know. I say everything wrong, but this is 40 grams of Nightmare. It's a shame because there's military instructions on the top that probably would have been pretty awesome. Oh God. So let's see. You can see the beans in there. Eat your beans. Don't forget to eat your beans. Let's see, are you guys seeing that? So, this might be the time I should probably care about a mask if I were to really get in there. Got it. So that's just a shape of the pasta. All this stuff, iCar. I don't think they're still the brand, but boy howdy, there's been some iCar-based failures in here. Alright, so this was sugar, but it got enough liquid through it that it's just an empty pouch where the sugar once was. Yeah, the crackers, these containers are basically rotted. This one has rotted all the way through to the actual biscuits. So we're going to put them to the side for now. Probably can't fix a lot of that. I mean, man, oh man, these beans went. We can give this a quick wipe down. What else is in here? Instant coffee. I'm just going to put this on for now. Yeah, Boardman saying seen rations from World War II look better than this. So have I. Yeah, this doesn't look good. We're going to take the bottom off this can. We're going to try and clean this up, and we're going to get rid of this junk. I didn't bring a garbage can down here. I'll be right back. I'm going to do that. Does that work? Yeah, okay. I swear it multiplies. There's a different source every time I look at this thing. Okay, so we're going to take the bottom off this can, we're going to dump the contents, and we're going to see where it goes. Yeah, Paul, it's in 1993. Okay, so grabbing the smooth edge can opener, going to take the bottom off. Well, we're going to give it a quick wipe. Try and get all the stuff that's just going to
crunch off as we do this out of the way. And I'm going to dump out as much of this as I can. I'm going to have to give that a once over. None of the glue held up. We got a can of beef and gelatin. We got a curious kitty wandering onto the set. We'll come back to the beef and gelatin. Alright, let's get this bottom off. Is there gonna be a place where this is gonna grip? Here we go. Alright, keep moving. There we go. Sometimes it's not going to have the force to grip and pull, the material left to grip and pull on its own, but you can kind of walk it through that step. Alright, almost. Like this is going to be one of those regions. I'm trying not to push too hard because this can would probably just collapse. Alright. Unscrew. Oh, I always forget that. I'm supposed to leave it on to pry, I think. Yeah. So we've got, yep. Still a little bit to separate here. This edge doesn't want to play ball. This edge has been good all the way, the rest of the way around. Just going to start back a little bit. Work through that one more time. Alright. Definitely wouldn't call it as smooth an edge as normal, but still pretty smooth. There's a chunk of metal right there trying to disagree with me. So, what you guys talking about? Hope I don't rip the plastic. Oh yeah, it's just garbage bags. Just contractor garbage bag as a easy to wipe down surface that I don't care too much about. There we go. So it'll pop back in and stay on. It's got some sharpness to the edges, but you'll be able to keep it. So here we go. Eat your beans and pasta. This is what you're here for, right? So you really can see the pasta in there, and the beans, and the vegetables. I see some green beans, I think. Definitely see some pasta. Oop, I spilled some horrible stuff on my table. Like you can see. Yep. See the pasta. Definitely glad I have this handy. You never know what kind of mold is on these things. It really doesn't look too crazy in terms of what's on the surface. Goodbye. See anything? It looks like just mainly beans and pasta. Looks like Doug Buckshot from a battlefield. Alright, so let's look in the can now. Not looking too bad. Everything is so relative in my world. Alright, we got damage to the side. I mean, honestly, this is going to hopefully be something we can clean up to a displayable state. Let's see what we're dealing with in terms of what's stuck on it. Looking like we're going to have to try some moisture.
All that crap is down in the garbage. I'm going to take this off for a minute. Hey, Smokey. Welcome to the stream. Just gonna go ahead and say it one more time. I haven't gone live at 5 in like a year. I go live at 3. But yeah, this is a rough one. Like, it looks alright from this side. But yeah, that's all shot. Hopefully we can get most of this stuff off of here. You know, bits and pieces of packets and stuff. But let's start with the front, try and clean this thing up. Yeah, a lot of this is just coming right off. Talking about run and shine. Let's see. A little rust on the front here. Probably be able to just touch a lot of this with wax once we get the food crud off of it. I'm going to try and stick to the soft side so as not to scuff the whole thing up. It's funny, like this really did feel like an MCI or like, you know, an RCI in terms of the fossilization that we're looking at there, you know. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to make anything of it, Smokey. Don't worry about it. Never required. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like, you know, thinking I still go on at 5. See, this is wiping away. But like, yeah, this can did not hold up against time. And I've had it in this shape for at least 6 or 7 years, if not longer. So when I got it and opened it up, it was awful. It was a, you know, who knows kind of purchase that didn't turn out to be a great one. And I don't think I was getting it with the expectation that it was going to be something I could actually eat, you know, but just not that it would be a nightmare inside. You know, this is breaking away, and I can read the writing underneath it. Granted, there's new holes forming as well, but you know, I think a good chunk of this will be preservable. Ooh, ooh, ooh! My back's not. Ooh, that was fun. I think it passed. Just got a really crazy jolt from the base of my spine. It's probably just this weird chair. Oh my god, yeah, Smokey, those $40 frickin' cigarettes. That's, I'm cleaning up 1993 Italian 24-hour ration that had basically rotted away. We did box 1, and it's basically everything in there was salvageable and in clean enough shape. Still have to deal with this sweetened condensed milk that's leaking from every potential orifice, but then we got to box 2, and box 2 was an exploded nightmare of beans and pasta that is the source of the bulk of the damage in this ration. This top is definitely just going to flake away, but that's alright. There's no real way to preserve it. It had some remnants of some instructions, but we're going to need to get the blistered layered crud off in order to get rid of the rust and put some wax on it. Let's see, it's 5:15. I'll work on this ration until a little before 6, and then we'll pack it up and try and eat that hot can and see how horrible that is. Probably take you guys upstairs at that point. Should be able to. We'll see how that goes. I wonder if it's even going to heat itself up. Oh man, okay, yeah, something's not great in my back today. Probably just slept weird. It's funny that there's so much damage on this end, maybe just the way everything was sitting in the box. You know, you never know exactly how something was stored for all the years that it was breaking down. And, you know, the direction of everything matters, because that's where the liquid's going to go. But, yeah, for that to flake away so bad, you'd think it was sitting in a pool. You know, there's no smell to this, whatever it is, you know, it's long beyond that point. Pete says, reminds me of Guy Fieri eating eggs and brains and following it with calf fries. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was from Cyanide Cookies, Dan, right? Over in Australia. Wow, what a package. I mean, what were those clinkers? But you know, CR1M. You know, it's just yeah. Be nice to try one of those. You know, from the modern era. So. have fun with that one, for sure. All right. Yeah, like I just tried to scrape away a little rust right here, and my finger went right through it. Like this, the remnants of this metal aren't very strong. I'm definitely going to break away some of these edge pieces here. You know, this would be one of those things where like we can put something foam inside this can to show the breakdown later. Just going to give it a once over inside. You know, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I really like the Vegemite that comes in the Australian military stuff in the little tubes. I like Vegemite. It's different. I don't like salty stuff. I like everything. You know, if I haven't said that enough, let's reestablish that I like everything food-wise. Yeah, and if it's possible to eat it, I'll figure out how I can enjoy it. Granted, I don't like every way everything is prepared, and there's certainly going to be stuff that should have been handled differently. Alright, so I think I found out why this side was in such bad shape. Almost done there. So, don't know if you'll be able to see. Let's take a look up at this light. This whole can, see all the little specks of light coming through. This whole can just became pretty porous. Alright, but we got the bulk of the crud off of it, we got it dry, we got thousands of these tiny fibers building up on this table. I'm assuming it's from the paper towels. It's got to be from the paper towels. Grew up in Germany, lived there for about 8 years. Were you on a military base, or just parents emigrated, or? So this was a pull tab. The ring isn't where it leaked. It was right in this inner stamped out chunk. Overall, the whole can broke down pretty badly. I wonder if it was any external conditions or any like little starter mark that got this all going, or if it's just, you know, really thin, poor quality metal that, you know, was just bound to do, you know, bound to fall apart like this, and did, you know, across the board. I haven't really gotten to compare to any other 90s Italian rations, so all right, we're gonna give this some spot touches with wax. We're using Renaissance microcrystalline wax polish. Same as the quote-unquote British Museum, which seems a little too generic, but alright. This will just basically put a seal against any oxygen. It'll give it kind of like that wet, dry appearance. Or I mean, it'll darken the, you know, the rust, and actually make it easier to see the metal, you know, through the rust instead of just the redness of the rust itself. So be helpful if I did that on camera. You know, and it gets that darker old patina to it. You can see the section I've already treated there versus, you know, all the lighter reddish rust down here. You know, and this is again me just being a amateur to all this. I'm looking at something that's going to at least extend the life for now. And hopefully as this organization gains legitimacy and people and experts and funding and time and all that over time, things that are worth, you know, a second look and represervation will get it. You know, and a lot of this stuff, like, who's going to take the time to sit and try and save a can of pasta from 1993 from deteriorating any further? For what purpose? Like, this is definitely some out there stuff, so I doubt there's a lot of super duper historians screaming at their screens at me, you know, thinking like I'm not doing this part correctly. But you know, you want to learn to do something right, you just do it wrong on the internet and you'll find out bit by bit how to do it the right way. Alright, just touching up all these little spots, and then we'll give it just a once over wipe down. MSG and yeast extract, well, it's flavor secret flavor. Add MSG to anything. Nothing wrong with it. Alright. My cat's just slowly circling this whole basement, smelling everything since I moved half the stuff down here. I gotta say, I'm really amazed by these gloves. They've gotten caught on really sharp, like little stabby bits of metal and not broken quite a few times in this process. Now the inside of the can is always the part that's pretty difficult, so I'm just going to go with a pretty liberal coating. Especially around the section that's mangled. And around any of the spots where I see daylight. Kind of has that model airplane glue kind of. No, I don't know. It's more like a garage. It's hard to place this smell. Cats will cat, says Pete. Yes, they will. Alright, so I think this, once we give it a once over with a rag, is ready to keep. You know, and honestly, it doesn't look horrible. As long as you don't turn it around all the way. And even then, I think we ended up a lot better than where we started. So let's give this a little rub down and call it preserved for now. There we go. Let's get a better angle. My cat over there, let's see if you can see her. She discovered an empty box. Did? Hey. Yeah, you. There we go. Ah. Alright. There's an overall. I think it turned out okay. Oh, we didn't do the bottom yet. That's right. We'll get this bottom of the can taken care of. Pop it back on. Yeah, the other funny thing that cats will do, if you if you draw a box on the floor, like if you take masking tape and just make a square that's like 2 feet by 2 feet on the floor, your cats will come just sit in it. Like they'll just come sit in it. Something about squares. Yeah, Smokey brings up a good point. If you got high blood pressure or any of a number of other reasons to not just eat basically a tube of salt, then, you know, Vegemite may not be for you. I'm lucky so far. You know, who knows how long it'll last with the way I eat, but so far I don't have anything I have to specifically avoid. Let's see, this has some really sharp bits from where, because like these smooth edge can openers are great, but when the rust breaks that lip, it breaks it in a way that can get insanely sharp. Like right here, you probably can't quite tell, but very razor sharp where pieces are broken off. So like even this lid, you know, like there's no side of this can that was safe. You know, it was just a sieve. Like you can see right through, looking up at the light, all over the place, all around the little inner edge, and just right in the middle of it, just big holes. Yeah, right about the size of a pizza box, Smokey. Just that's what cats. There's just something in their head that's like that's the right size square. Alright, I think we got that. All the actual physical stuff scraped away from it. Now we'll just wax this and pop it back on. Just want to make sure I get any super sharp bits off of here. Have y'all seen Pepsi cream soda? Wondering if it's any good. I don't know. I like the Pepsi cherry. Every now and then I find it. I mean, I'm definitely a Coke person over a Pepsi any day. But I don't there's nothing wrong with Pepsi. It's just it's a different flavor. But yeah, cream soda Pepsi. I mean, if it's just Pepsi Company making a cream soda, then I guess it doesn't really matter that they're Pepsi, but it's somehow got Pepsi flavor involved. That would be weird, wouldn't it? Coca-Cola Orange, yeah, that one's really good. Yeah, the orange and vanilla are some of my favorites. I mean, I like all the flavored Coca-Colas that I've tried. Right. Action Kid live right now, walking around New York. Who's Action Kid? I'm not familiar. I do watch quite a few streamers that do live walkabout stuff. There's this guy Mikey in New York that I watch. It's like Meiki or something. Not spelled the normal way one would spell Mikey. But he's like a delivery guy. I mean, like a bike messenger. So you get to see him weaving in and out of traffic at speed and stuff. I was just giving a little bit more of a touch up to that really bad spot there. But alright, let's try and see where this came apart so we can match it back up as best I can. Usually a perfect fit somewhere where all the dents and buckles match. Oh, that feels like it. There we go. You know, it's always harder when there's this much rust and the ring's broken in so many spots to get it to stick back together, but we might have a shot with this one. It's just this one side where it's all just collapsed. Turn, which is another trick to like get it to have a little more, you know, sideways sticking pressure, because there's just all these really sharp little bits. I'm sure I'll end up with one of them in my palm. What? Oh, I shouldn't touch my screen with this whole setup. I mean, overall, when these go back together right, you know, it's great, but when they don't, oh, there's another super sharp edge. That looks like the right spot. Yeah, I'm just going to put the bottom inside for now. Well, yeah. It doesn't want to, so I'm just going to keep it. Oh, no. Just keeps on wanting to jump back out. That's all right. You can always glue these back together too. But it turns out pretty good after the can opening. you know, you should still be able to basically treat it like a sealed can. And in a lot of cases with the green ones, you know, they popped right back together. This was just in a little worse shape than most. So we'll call that piece finished. Oh, and Smokey, you missed this earlier, but we cleaned this up. Got all the chunks and grossness off the outside. Got the tax stamp. $80 proof, 40% cordial. Yeah, soda's getting crazy expensive. $4.99 a 12 pack. Try Philadelphia. We're up to like $7.89 plus the soda tax. So it's getting nuts. I mean, like for Coca-Cola and you know that kind of stuff. You know, you can definitely get like RC Cola and things for a lot cheaper if you're willing. But like, yeah, the soda tax, even on diet soda, which doesn't make any sense at all. Like the sugar tax, I mean, sorry, the sin drink tax, you know, that somehow applies to soda, or I mean, that applies to diet soda. You know, yeah, it hasn't stopped anyone from drinking it. It just makes our lives cost more. That's all. I know it's probably not the best advice, Smokey, but VR exercise helped for me. You know, just basically putting the gym inside, you know, making a virtual gym in your house. I'm not a big fan of going out for a 20-minute activity and spending 2 hours, you know, between prepping, leaving, getting there, you know, coming back, all that stuff, parking. So right now we're cleaning up this super grody but probably fine beef and gelatin. It just had a lot of crud on it from connection. Okay, so you guys see me now? This isn't a great sign.